Yep, we're on.
What's up, bro?
Nothing much, brother.
Yeah, there we
How
go.
you?
Give it a little minute here. We'll get everybody. But I'm sure there's a bunch of people that's gonna be on. Get my stuff. Get my water. No coffee tonight, Charles. No coffee tonight. Hey, my Auntie Grace is on. All right. Dad's sister. All right. Hi, Auntie. How are you? All right. What's up, Marlene? Yeah, that was quick. Muted? Am I muted? Can you hear me, Charlie?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Liz, I don't know. Check your volume. Check your volume. Uh, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed PBS. I know that was kind of surprised. I didn't know. I found out actually today it was going to be on, and so I try to share it as best I could. Melissa says, "I wish I didn't watch it. I'm more depressed." Cynthia says they were all weak. Once again, only Derek had positive comments. Yeah, I got not very good comments. I don't know. Let's give it a minute, Charlie. Let's get everybody on, and then we'll have a quick discussion on what you all think. I don't have the setup, so I can share your comments, but I am. So if you see my eyeballs not into the camera, that's because my phone is off to the side, so I can see the comments. But Sam says, "Dang show was not that awesome. I prefer watching you and Uncle Charlie."
Hey, thanks, huh?
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, I kind of settled down. I'm all good. Yay, yay. I got my water, no coffee tonight. My wife picked up dinner that I'm gonna have right after this post show from Smiley's restaurant there in Lihue. Takeout. I got some shrimp. That's gonna be my dinner tonight. Melissa, thank you. We love you guys too. I mean, Charlie, I tell you, uh, I love this group. I love this group. I love this Ohana that we are part of. I really do. And your comments, I gotta tell you, and I know I speak for Charlie, but I'll let him say it as well. Uh, your comments, over the last year and a half, your comments that you send us in private messages or emails or text messages, I got to tell you, man, it means a lot. It does mean a lot. I get chicken skin just talking about it. So thank you all. We love you guys more than you know. And again, we are going to um, do what we have to do to keep all of you uh, informed and educated. So, Charles, what's your
Yeah.
thoughts? What do you think about our Ohana? What do you think about our Ohana that that joins us every single time we're on?
Well, I think they need to get paid. We are lucky. We're lucky that they come in and um watch us. But I love them. What people don't realize is that many of our viewers, they they are truly homegrown experts in their own rights. Because why? You can talk the talk, but they all have walked the walk, and that's the difference. They have the ability, they walk the walk. So when they talk, sometimes people that don't understand take little offense to it, and next thing you know, there's exchange of words. But for the most part, those who have been truly faithful and those who have joined us and have been faithful watching our show, who've expressed their comments, whether it be in a small form or not, I look at it and I say, no, you're right. And it's because they are actually talking with a true sense of, um, how should I say, experience. They've experienced what they're talking about. And then, of course, there are those that just want to blah, 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 blah. And we invite them too. and we learn to, put up with it. And I start to think in my head. That's all I hear all night is blah 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 blah.
Well, you know what we all have in common, all of our viewers, and we've got a lot new ones. We got some that have been. I'm not going to even start mentioning names because we're going to forget a bunch.
Right.
So you all know who you are. You guys have been with us from day one.
Hmm.
When we started, uh, you guys have never left, and we've picked up a bunch along the way. We've lost a few. We still have those that come on sporadically. We have a lot of people that watch us after the fact. My YouTube videos that this goes up on YouTube as well. So we know there's a lot of people watching, but the one thing that we all have in common, even those that we disagree with or disagree with our opinions or whatever, is that we all have a genuine love and care and concern for our people. That's it. There is no ulterior motives here. There is no no one's paying us. Number one, we don't have sponsors. We don't we're not here for any industry. We have friends that are in all the industries. We've got into some debates and disagreements with some good friends because of comments that we have made. But I think the reason why we're all here tonight and we continue to be here is that we all have a genuine love and care for our friends and families and for our people here in Hawaii. So for that, I thank all of you. Charlie, I thank you as well because you kind of bring the balance. And if you weren't here, oof, I think Facebook would kick us off the air. But um, oh, Susan, that's so nice. We don't have anything that compares to you guys on Oahu. Glad I can listen. Well, this show has now we have a reach across the country, really,
Yep.
and we want to make sure that we're very responsible in what we say and what we do because we know that there's a lot of people that rely on our information, and that is why we bring on people like Dr. Lee Altenberg and Dr. Miskovich and Kim and Akhtar and all of these guys that are recognized as experts in their field. So
Yeah.
it's
And
hard to believe, Charlie, that we've been here for going on 2 years now. That's a long time, man.
well, sometimes I feel a little intimidated, having a conversation with them, the experts that we have. So, I even surprised myself because when I go back and review, I said, look at that Kanaka trying to act educated. I bet he never know what he would ask. Well, it sounds pretty damn good, so I'm okay with I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Well, we have learned so much. We have learned so much, and we can kind of segue into the show we just watched on the PBS. I will say that I was kind of a little concerned because it seems like uh, the we're still a reactive group. We're not a proactive group. I think every one of them, when asked about the situation, I think all of our mayors said that we're in a good place right now. Well, we're not in a good place
Are?
right now. Yeah, no, that's what each one said that. Each and every one said that we're in a good place right now, which was kind of disheartening, I guess, because we're not in a good place right now. We're in a
You
good
know,
place in the sense that we're in Hawaii and we live here, and yeah, and the people are nice. I understand that. Mitch Roth was talking about this is the best place to live. That wasn't the discussion. The discussion was, with what has happened today, with the outbreak, with the numbers today. What is your outlook? And this wasn't a campaign speech time. It was, what's your plan? But it seemed like, Charlie, that they were all gonna wait. We're gonna wait until it gets worse before we start thinking about changing our direction. That was a little concerning, but I will get to Derek's closing comments because I thought he had the best and he made the most sense. And I'm not just saying that because he's our mayor. I'm saying that because that's what I saw. But I honestly felt kind of uncomfortable with the attitudes that um, we're still good and we just we're not even considering rolling back some restrictions. And when I say roll back restrictions, I'm not talking about a full lockdown. But I don't know. What did you get out of it, Charlie?
well, I think what pretty present, what was present in their delivery was the fact, no one, I'm surprised, but no one acknowledged that, you know, the hospitals, both COVID and non-COVID patients, the case counts are much higher than they were before in our ICU. So, there it's okay to be in a position to say, no, we're just gonna let it roll. We're gonna roll the dice, let it roll. But what happens when all hell breaks loose? It's these innocent people called nurses, doctors. They didn't ask for this mess. And I feel like it's just gonna be thrown on them. And some people say, wow, they make a lot of money, these nurses, X numbers. I said, you know what? They're not getting paid enough for what they do, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And so, that's what kind of shocked me is that nobody talked about a plan that would address if the medical facilities were to become overrun. Because I can tell you with certainty right now on Kauai, we don't have any responsive portable um, like MASH type operation to set up someplace and just pop it up in. Because number one, you said it before, you need the personnel to staff those kind of facilities, right? Those
Yeah.
makeshift. So and we're not talking about, well, they open only during bankers hours, because when people get sick, it's a 24/7 type of thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough personnel to handle that.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. The medical personnel, frontline doctors, nurses, staffers, custodians, everybody that works in the hospital, they have to live through this every single day. They go to work every day, and seeing this is so traumatic to see these patients in ER and ICU and on ventilators. We cannot forget about the amount of people that have died recently. Today we had three, but we had one and twos and ones and twos and threes, and it's happening. And our doctors and our nurses and our receptionists and all of our therapists, everybody that is in that facilities,
Hmm.
have to live it every day. So you're right, Charlie. They don't they're there because they want to help and they care so much for what they do. And then the other side of this is, as I'm watching the news and I'm watching the interviews with our school teachers, um, that are all they want to do is educate our kids, and they want to do it in a safe way. And I hear no discussion about. You would think that with this variant running wild right now, and that there would be a little more discussion on how we're going to keep our kids and our teachers and our custodians and our health nurses and our secretaries safe as this thing starts to spread. I haven't heard that discussion. And, I'm obviously not privy to everything, but that is what's not being talked about in the public. Charlie, remember when we had Dr. DeWorkin on last week or whatever, 2 weeks ago, whenever he was on last? He
Hmm.
said a very profound statement and in his closing comments. And he said, if we don't get a handle on this, if we continue this trend, it's going to come back and it's going to be bloody. Remember he said that? He used that term. It's going to get bloody. And I telling you right now, we're there. And these guys that are not being used as the resources that they should be used as, have been saying this for a long time, and they've been really been ignored. And that is the troubling part. And so, tonight's show, they didn't really discuss much about that. I understand DOE is a state function, but at the end of the day, um, our mayors need to be able to step up and hold our state decision makers accountable. I have not heard anybody say much about it. In essence, they were all in agreement. They all said we're in a good place, and that we're all going to pull through.
Hmm.
But the one thing that Derek said at the end that like I said, I think he did the best job tonight was when he said, we all got to take personal responsibility. We cannot forget about the personal responsibility in getting vaccinated. And if you cannot get vaccinated, then making sure that we practice the safe measures personally. Um, and all the rest talked about what they did with the budget and what they're doing in their county and what their industries they're building and farming. And no, the question was specific to COVID and the date. And Derek was the only one that really answered and said, hey, um, we got to take personal responsibility. He did say we're in a good place as well. I kind of disagree with him on that, but his comments as far as taking responsibility and doing what we need to do if we want to get through it, I think he was probably the most on topic than the other three.
Yep. Yep. Well, you know, I've said it many times before. We are now in a survival mode. And so I again, before when we went on earlier, I started to analyze within myself, my thoughts, trying to capture my thoughts into thinking, what is their ultimate plan? And it almost has the appearance, because they're not taking any precautionary measures or not wanting to do anything. It's like it's almost like them saying, "Well, you know what? You get sick, it's on you." Well, that may be true to some extent, but don't we have a sense of responsibility to uh, do our part and trying to keep it from spreading? And yet, we as individuals, we don't control the airports. That's why we have no say as far as who comes in and who doesn't come in, and all of that good stuff. So I think it becomes very problematic in a sense that we're sort of at the mercy, and they let things go and ride the way they do, but yet we must do what we know works for us to protect ourselves, and we have to do that. And it may seem like it's an added chore, but what's more important? Is your life more important? I would think so. If it's an added chore, I get a good workout, but guess what? At least I know I'm gonna stay safe.
This is Tyson posted. He commented that most of the teachers really don't like the distance learning, and I'll be honest with you. I honestly prefer the in class learning. I mean, I think of all the teachers that I've spoken to, I've heard on the news or on interviews that said uh, many students don't do well with distance learning, with online learning. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I believe that. I think that's true. But the frustrating part is that it's been a year and a half, going on 2 years, and we knew, right, Charlie? We all knew that the day would come where we had to get our kids back in a classroom. That somebody just posted. I think it was Dr. Dworkin said, we were more interested in opening up our bars than we were for opening up our schools. So they had a year and a half. I just find it hard to believe how we couldn't have made the necessary adjustments to our schools to provide a safe setting, whether it be social distancing or improving ventilations. And I don't want to hear this crap about money, because we have money in the bank from COVID monies that we haven't used. And so I don't want to hear about money and the cost. It's just it was never a money issue, it was a priority issue. So there were things that we could have done. you know, we have organizations, we have people that can go out and build additional portable classrooms. So we would expand existing classrooms, improve ventilation, all of these things that they had a year and a half to do, and they never did it. And they all thought that one day COVID was going to be gone and everything was going to be fine. Well, when it's not gone, it's not fine, and our kids need to be back in classrooms. But with the current situation as it is,
Hmm.
it's not safe, especially for those kids that can't be vaccinated. And it just, to me, I don't hear that discussion. And I agree with the teachers that are saying that these kids need to be back in school. I agree with that 100%. But you cannot put them in an environment that's going to possibly get them sick. And that's the discussion we're not hearing. What did they say? Not long ago, they said they're not going to have to wear masks and they're going to be 3 feet apart. You do that with this variant, with Delta, everyone get a ton of sick kids. I'm sorry,
Mm.
that is not disputable. We know that. We know that. And yet there's really, we'll see. Outdoor classrooms, Daniel, that's a great point. We talked about that before. Remember, Charlie? We get
Mm.
Hana Pepe Stadium, we get Kapaa Stadium, we get Vidina Stadium. We could create areas where these people could teach in an outdoor setting. that would be safe. And I'm sorry, teachers would have to adjust. But if you guys believe that that is the proper uh, way of training our kids, which I agree, out face to face learning, then do it in a venue that's safe.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, one common factor in this whole discussion about our schools is whether or not the spacing in the classes, right? There's enough space in the classes. Well, it's funny that the general public is reminded to keep at least a minimum of 6 feet distance, right? And yet they're vaccinated. And yet in schools, children are not vaccinated, but you bring the distance in even tighter at 3 feet. Does that make sense to you? And because if I had to compare precautionary measures, that doesn't sound like precautionary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I go back to Senator Mercado Kim's comment about hope is not a strategy. We cannot sit here today and hope that it'll work. And I don't think that uh, our children's lives are worth taking a chance to see if in fact Delta going to spread in a classroom, because we know it will. We know it will.
mhm.
And so I don't even understand why we cannot be having that discussion and versus all the discussions. Remember when we were trying to get the state open? Remember when we were trying all the discussions that the governor, lieutenant governor had with the travel industry, with Hawaiian Airlines, and all the accommodations that they made to make sure that we could get our flights back coming to Hawaii. All of that effort and energy was done. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't have been done. I'm just saying that that same energy and that same effort should be placed on our kids for their safety. That's all I'm trying to say. And I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, I've been in politics for a long time. I know how slow the wheels of government move, but we had a freaking year and a half. We had a year and a half. And we are nowhere closer to what we need to do today than we were a year and a half ago. Classrooms haven't been changed. And so it's just baffling to me. And now we want to, we know we got to get the kids back in class, but my God, you're gonna put them in. That's like sending them to a. Oh man, I don't even use those words, but I just don't want to see these kids get tossed into an environment that's pretty damn dangerous.
Well, you said it, and I always repeat, you know, that I believe our children are our future. That if you teach them well, they'll definitely lead the way. But you don't do it by exposing them to the dangers.
Absolutely,
you,
absolutely. I mean,
you don't do it that way. But yet, talk about it. It's an educational piece, but you don't put them into that situation. At least give them a chance to grow, right? And yet, you're placing the battle lines right up front in their learning environment, and it's tough. It's a tough call, but I'm sure that teachers do have the best interest of the kids at heart.
oh yeah, man, my feelings for our doctors and nurses and all of that group is no different than my aloha and my love for our teachers and our educational employees. I mean that with all my heart. It's they are in a very tough situation, and all they want to do is teach. It's like our doctors and nurses and staff. They all they want to do is get people well. And imagine if all they see, Charlie, they're so focused on their work and they're so focused on getting people well. Um, and I don't know, and I could be totally wrong. I know we got some medical people on the call tonight, and if tell me what you think. But when you are at work trying to save lives, or even in a support capacity, and you see the actions of our state that are that are only increasing the workload for you all, that has to be deflating. Charlie, that has to be
Yeah.
deflating. And but they're not going to stop what they do. They're not going to quit. they're going to go back to work and they're going to deal with they're going to play with the hand that they were dealt, and they're going to do their best, and they're going to try their best. But can you imagine in their mind how they feel? Where, wow, where's the aloha? Where's the assistance? Where's the help?
Mm,
And when you see 243 cases or whatever it was, and you know that a chunk of that will be in the hospital, and the remnants of this surge will be in the hospital, you see your hospital beds filling up, and there is no attempt by our state to control that right now, other than telling people to go get a vaccine.
right.
It's got to be deflating, man. It's got to be deflating.
Well, I kind of want to kind of go off the subject a little and tell you about an experience. Since undertaking this task at the Lihue Airport, I made it a point to, as the so-called big cheese in the security field there, to make my employees, not my employees, but make the employees feel inclusive. And part of that is, bringing goodies in the morning, such as in the morning, whether I buy them breakfast or buy hot malasadas from one of my favorite bakeries. I was not paid to give a plug, but Kauai Bakery, Dr. Galiza and her partner, they
Delicious.
delicious, man. That place is uh, pretty darn close to Leonard's. I mean, of course, it's hard to beat Leonard's, but hey, I'll settle for Kauai Bakery malasadas anytime, along with our friends at uh, the grinds, the Pacific grinds down below. But anyway, recently they opened at 6, and I was in the parking lot calling, and they opened right at 6. That means that 5 to 6, you can call all you like. They're not gonna pick up the phone. So at 6 o'clock, I said, "Can I order 2 dozen malasadas?" They said, "Can you give me 20 minutes?" I said, "I'm right outside, so I'll be right there." So I go there, and there was already a group, and there was a group of visitors. So they were inside, and there's a big sign that says four at a time. So there's a gentleman by the door, a good friend of mine standing. She works in the airlines industry, and I was standing behind her, and there's several more people standing behind us. And then these visitors came along and just cut in front of everybody. So I just stood there quietly, and she had no mask on. And the gentleman said, "You got to put on a mask, and plus you need to go in the back." She says, "Oh, I'm with these people inside." And the individual in front of me said the same thing, said, "Oh, yeah, we're all standing in line." And so, she didn't get the point that it can only take 4. If someone left and they're in front of us and they go, that means we still have to wait outside, correct?
Yeah.
So she turned to us and she says, you know, "I can't take this. Where's the aloha?" I mean, it almost seemed that you used the word aloha in vain. We had aloha. We smiled at you when we told you that we're all standing in line. Wasn't that enough aloha? We could. I mean, thank God this was in downtown Kalihi by Kohio Park Terrace. You want aloha? Yeah, it comes with a free cracks. Nothing like that happened. You know what I'm saying? And I was just flabbergasted that this individual took that position. And I can see why a lot of residents are getting upset. We get individuals making dangerous U-turns on the road because the Kapa'a corridor, Wailoa corridor, how the traffic backs up.
Mm-hmm.
Just a way of life, right? We can't do nothing about it. And people just make dangerous U-turns, are these visitors, because I mean it's obvious, and they make U-turn, and luckily people didn't get hurt or injured. And for those people that are visiting and just happen to stumble across it tonight, I'm going to ask a real big favor. We care about everyone. We don't want to single anyone out, but we care about everyone. And in order for us to all be safe, we all must do our part, residents and visitors. We all have to do our part. But please don't push the envelope. I mean, I saw firsthand, and I was saddened. I was really saddened. I was taken back that that was told to us. It was like it was a challenge to all of us. The gentleman that was right up against the door. Oh, when I saw his chest get extra big, I already knew he was ready to let go. And we just told him, brother, not even worth it. Not even worth it. But you know, it was just sad. It was just sad.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult times. There's no secret, man. I mean, it's just difficult times for everyone, and it's hard. It's hard to maintain. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's on edge. Everybody's on edge, and a lot of it is just because of, it's been a long time. It's been a very long time, and we don't know what the future holds, right? I think we know what the future holds, but we keep being told that it's all good and groovy, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. What light? What light? So it's we just gotta. I've said it for so, and I say this to everybody, whether they're a new manager or a new employee, that you got to be real, you got to be transparent, you just got to tell the truth and let people know what's really happening, and then they make their, informed and educated decisions. I mean, I think that's what we got to do, but it's hard when the messages are mixed, and and we've had that problem from day one. I will say this: I really am thankful that Governor Ige stood his ground and maintained the mask mandate, and in fact, he went as far as saying yesterday, or it may have been the day before yesterday, that until we reach 70% vaccination rate, and I don't know if you caught this, Charlie. He said, and not or, and the daily case count is less than 10. Only then will he consider lifting the restrictions. I just want to take this time. I know we're very critical of Governor Ige. I know we were very critical of Governor Ige early on, and I still disagree with some of his decisions that he had made early on. But he has held his ground. I can only imagine how much pressure he's getting from the industries, that he has maintained his, who looks like the hero now, right? 2 weeks ago, when he was being urged to lift the mask mandate and to ease up on the restrictions, and he
Hmm.
said no. Today, I publicly say thank you, Governor. I'm trying to get him on our show. I want to publicly thank him. I also want him to share his plans to our viewers going forward. So um, I hope we can make that happen, because he deserves that recognition, that he didn't
You know,
he didn't listen to the pressure. He didn't listen to the stress. He did what he felt was right, and it turned out to be bingo, correct.
Mel, we always, both you and I always felt, and we discussed this before, whether we like the person or not, but if the person deserves credit, we give them the credit.
Absolutely.
Give them the credit. And I agree with you. He made some tough decisions given, you know, it's like, if you have to have that unified message coming out from your office, and then you get somebody just going left of center who within that same office, I think your message will be kind of either watered down or lost in translation.
Yeah.
And but I give him credit because he's still, you know, is like it's like canoe paddling, man. You sometimes you just so tired you like give up, but you just take that extra push and you just keep on grabbing as much water as you can, and you move that canoe along until you catch one swell or whatever. And he's kept the course. I gotta admit that much. He hasn't been one of our favorite people, but damn, I give him all the credit in the world for kind of holding the position.
I think the last 6 months, he relied on the Department of Health, and he made some decisions that we thought may have been premature, but it didn't hurt us that bad, and I think that in hindsight, probably was the right decision. But we also got to thank him, Charlie, because if it wasn't for his press conference back in March of 2020, we wouldn't be here today.
Oh,
Yeah,
that press conference.
yeah. So,
Oh,
so we
you
got
know,
to thank
brother,
him for that.
it it that press conference just irked the bejesus out of you. And I just said, okay, this is the start of a new journey.
Well, you know that, and so we really got to give him the kudos for pissing me off to the point where where I called you and I said let's do a show.
Yeah,
But but
yeah.
it was more than that, Charlie. It was your brother and everything else that created this whole thing. But we are almost 2 years now, and we are in nowhere a better place than we were, because the threat of the variant is much more serious than the threat of the what I think Doctor I think it was Dr. Altenberg calls it the Wuhan virus, the original COVID, and what we have today, and what's yet to come. Uh, yeah, we're not in a better place. We're in a much more dangerous place, and I think that we all better accept and acknowledge that, and act accordingly. That's where I go back to what Derek said in his closing comments. We must take personal responsibility. Something, Charlie, you and I have been talking about for over a year. Personal responsibility is what's going to get us through this. Not the state, not the federal government. It's going to be us.
And you know, you're absolutely right, Mel. You know, at the end of the day, if anything bad happens to Charlie Iona, I take full responsibility for whatever that is.
Mhm.
And you know, there's situations where, you know, a plane falls out of the sky and lands on me. I have no control over that. But for now, knowing that this virus and it's looming in a threatening manner, I just need to take all the precautions, and you need to take all the precautions, and all of our viewers need to take the precautions, because whatever happens, it's on us. But I believe, and like you started off the show, this the second part of the show, you said we got a great bunch of Ohana. We got a great Ohana. And so that's why I am confident that they'll all take really good care of themselves. And I feel good about that. But, you know, I would like to send a shout out to the viewers again. And some have been under the weather, haven't been feeling too well. And those, you know, continue to pray for your speedy recovery, because getting anything at this point, especially with this virus, the way it's acting in the state, it causes great concern, right? And you don't want nothing to happen to any of our friends. So I'll keep on praying for them.
Roger Dodger, man. Well, appreciate you, Charlie. Appreciate you for coming back on tonight. I don't know if you have any other comments you want to put out there before we
Yeah.
close it out.
Okay. I would like to, um, I would, I personally, and this is just, you know, me speaking, and I know you have your own sentiments, and I'll let you express those. But I personally want to send a shout out to, you know, if there's anyone that I've offended during this last close to 2 years of doing the show by maybe comments or remark that I said that may have affected you personally, I ask for your humble forgiveness, because that was never my intent to do that. It has always been the intent of, when I first joined Mel, that this show was a way of me relieving the sadness I had because of the loss of my brother, and hoping that I could turn that sadness into a positive. And I believe I've accomplished that goal, but there's still much more I need to accomplish. I just hope and pray with these numbers, when we did the first half of this show, that we talked about what may lie tomorrow as far as numbers. And we said it'd probably be over 300. I hope I'm wrong. I'm praying that I'm wrong. Because if I'm not wrong, then that means that it's pretty evident we don't have this virus under control. We've said this before. Why are we not closing off areas so we don't add more fuel to the fire. Let us deal with the fire that's going on right now, right? Let us deal with that. Let us put it out before we can take any more. But that is not the case with this state. So I can only hope and pray, and I hope that those in positions can hear the plea that, hey, we're not asking for any lockdown. And that's what you said, Mel. All we're asking for is give us a chance, or give the health professionals a chance to fight this virus on an unobstructed playing field. Don't allow any more to come in. That's all I'm saying. Hey, brother.
Right on, man. Thank you very much. Likewise, there's never our intention to offend anybody, and I know we have. I know we have, and it is what it is. I mean, we try to put out the information. I will say this: I apologize for my outburst tonight. Earlier on the first segment, I should have been a little more cool off, but it just irritated me. Whatever. It's done. It's water under the bridge. We're moving on. I think Charlie, you talked about the brush fire or the big fire. One of our guests talked about the match and the haystack, and
Yeah, Lee Altenberg, he said it.
yeah, Dr. Altenberg, and it's so true that this fire is burning. We got to deal with the fire, and we really got to start looking at one of the things I think that is lacking right now, and I'm hoping that I know people are uh, concerned and looking for some assurances that we are prepared for moving forward, and we're not hearing that, right? And I would much rather have heard tonight, if our numbers reach to a certain, if our hospital capacity reaches a certain point, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
I was hoping that's at least, for Honolulu, where right now it's pretty much wide open, that some of those areas that are prone to exposures would be at least put on notice that, guys, we're heading towards bringing back some restrictions. But there's none of that. Everybody says we're in a good place and we're moving forward. So I think they need to start really figuring it out and thinking about going forward for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because that's when this is what we got to deal with. So yeah, Charlie, I hope things get better. I really do. I pray, I ask all of you tonight, before you put your head on that pillow, say a prayer for everyone, our leaders, our decision makers, those that are grieving, those that have lost family, those that are sick, those are confused and concerned. Just pray for everybody, because right now we need the help. We need God's help, guys. Whether you believe in God or not, whoever you believe in. And if you don't believe in God, then ask Charlie Ona for some blessings. He's real good at that. But again, we appreciate you guys jumping on for our second segment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the first segment. We will be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, with Dr. Lee Altenberg. He's going to share with us his model. I think it's important. I think you'll see why we are as concerned as we are. And those of you that I see, some of you popping up names who you would like to see on the show, send us in message a way to contact them, or if you know them, hey, do the invite for us, and we will accommodate them. We will be putting out guests as often as we can find them to inform and educate you all. So with that, Charlie, again, thank you very much. I'm going to go eat my shrimp dinner and have some water, and hopefully get a good night's sleep. Guys, we ask God for be with us tonight, and we ask God for give us some good numbers tomorrow. Hopefully this turns around. We got to be prepared for the worst, but hope for the best. All right, guys, we love you guys. God bless. Take care. Aloha.